Okay, now we're going to get into this horrible article from Cat Tenbarge, of course, probably one of the worst journalists that we've had in this entire thing, from NBC News. National feminist organizations break their silence on Amber Heard in an open letter of support. And I've said it before, and I'll keep on saying it. Why are they barely breaking their silence now? And why is that? Because go on TikTok, where the whole thing started, and they say, oh, it was all on TikTok. It was a social media live. That's where it was. No, dude, go on TikTok, and people don't want to hear about it anymore. They don't care about Amber Heard anymore. All the videos that I post about Amber Heard, nobody likes them anymore. So what did they do? Break their silence 5 months later, when nobody now wants to hear about it. Nobody wants to hear about you defending Johnny Depp. So now they're going to break their silence and start to control the narrative, which is not happening. Every single fucking article I find from these people, I'm going to roast that shit to the pit of hell. That's what I'm going to do. The letter denounces the rising misuse of defamation lawsuits to silence people who report domestic and sexual abuse. No, it doesn't. It's telling people, well, I mean, like, these defamation lawsuits, they're working. Like, they're really, like, stopping Me Too, hashtag Me Too, and I don't like that. And I think that, like, you know, like, I'm Cat Tenbarge, and I think that, like, we got to do something about these lawsuits, because these defamation lawsuits, like, oh, they're really screwing us over, and we can't lie anymore. Oh my God. That's what's happening. That's exactly what they're doing. They're crying because the defamation lawsuits are working. And that's what they do. More than 130 people, including Gloria Steinem and organizations in the field of women's rights advocacy and domestic violence and sexual assault awareness, have signed an open letter to support Amber Heard, who lost a defamation suit this year brought on by her ex-husband Johnny Depp for an op-ed in which she said she was a public figure representing domestic abuse. Now look at that. Look at the first one right there, including Gloria Steinem. Only last year this would have worked. Only last year. Because the trial truly changed everything. If anyone having to do with domestic violence or sexual abuse, if anyone would have seen, oh, Gloria Steinem, technically I don't even know who that person is, I just know she's a hardcore feminist. If anyone would have seen Gloria Steinem's coming out and she's saying, oh, we got to stop this, oh my God, we got to stop this violence, we have to stop this, we got to stop doing this, everybody would have been like, oh yeah, we got to. Because, you know, Gloria Steinem said that, and we have to stop this abuse. Oh, we must stop this. But it's not that. It's not last year, man. Everybody saw what Amber Heard did. Everybody saw that she was lying. And that's why this letter, it backfired. Nobody fucking cares. It only made people realize that these people are worse. That's all it did. The letter, which was exclusively shared with NBC, gee, I wonder fucking why, NBC News, ahead of its public release Wednesday, was signed by groups like the National Organization for Women, the National Women's Law Center, Equality Now, and the Women's March Foundation. The Women's March Foundation. And it even proves it more. They don't care about facts. They don't care about anything. All they care about is the woman narrative. It's hilarious to see. And I want them to keep going because they're going to give me more content. It was written by a group of, bullshit. You know, Amber Heard wrote that herself. It was written by a group of people who identify as domestic violence survivors and supporters of Heard. Heard filed a brief last month laying the groundwork to appeal a 7-person jury's decision. Well, you can't admit that there was women in the jury? 7-person. Geez, decision in Virginia's Fairfax County Circuit Court to award Depp $10 million in compensatory damages and $5 million in punitive damages in June. Heard, who had countersued, was awarded $2 million, which she doesn't deserve, and she's not going to get back, so we don't have to worry about talking about that. Although the Washington Post essay never mentioned Depp by name, yes, we know you keep on using that defense, it doesn't work. Depp's attorney said it indirectly referred to allegations Heard made against him during their 2016 divorce. During the trial, she testified in graphic terms about a sexual assault she alleged, as well as, Don't just kind of gloss over that. The sexual assault she's talking about is a bottle up her open vag. No, dude. And that's why nobody believes that. Nobody. Even the people that are on her side can't possibly believe that because they're all women. So you're not going to tell women that they had a bottle that's a square, a whiskey bottle shoved up your V and nothing happened to you. Even they know that, which is why those people are so horrible. They know she's wrong. They know she's the abuser, but they're still supporting her. You see why that makes them horrible individuals? As well as allegations of incidents of physical abuse, Depp denied all allegations of abuse. The letter, which denounces the rising misuse of defamation lawsuits to silence people who report domestic and sexual abuse, is one of the biggest public shows of support for Heard. One of the biggest. So you're saying 130 people? That's one of the biggest. Do y'all even read these things before you put them out? Oh, 130 to 200 people. That is one of the biggest public shows of support for Heard. Oh my God. Really? 130? No. Really? 200 people? No. Dude, do you know I get more comments than that in my videos? Hey, Cat 10 Barge, you don't read these things before you post them, do you? You just admitted that 130 people is one of the biggest public showings of support for Amber Heard. Do you even know what that means? That's it? That's one of the biggest showings of support? Do you even know what you just did, Cat 10 Barge? Oh my God. 130 people is the biggest showing of support for Heard after months of silence from many groups after... No. No, we know it's not groups. It's people in those organizations, not the whole organization. No. Not from many groups. It's 130 people. Okay, it's not like it's 130 groups and there's like 40 people in each group. No, dude. No, it's 130 individual people. So that means there's only 130. There's only 130 supporters of Amber Heard, and that's one of the biggest public showings. Representatives for both Depp and Heard declined to comment. No fucking shit. Okay. I don't think they read these things before they put them out. The jury's decision was a legal vindication for Depp, who lost the libel case in the UK 2 years ago over claims that he had physically abused Heard. Justice Andrew Niccol, a corrupt piece of shit, ruled against Depp in 2020, saying a British tabloid had presented substantial evidence to show that Depp was violent against Heard on at least 12 of 14 occasions. See... This is my favorite part about the whole U-fucking-K trial. Substantial evidence. That doesn't even mean like 100%. Substantial evidence means like, oh yeah, okay, well, we'll consider it. Like, it's like, oh, okay, like 82%, maybe 85. We don't know. That's the part that fucking, it's so hilarious. They're over there in a court. There's supposed to be a court of law. And it's like, oh yeah, so do you think he did it? Well, I'm like 82% sure. Oh, okay. Then he did it. These people don't read this shit. Substantial evidence to show that Depp was violent against Heard on at least 12 or 14 occasions. After the June verdict, activists called out other groups like Time's Up, asking why an organization that had championed victims at the height of #MeToo was now silent. They were silent because they knew she was the fucking abuser. hey, well, you championed people at the height of hashtag Me Too. Why haven't you said anything? Did you watch the trial? So this is exactly what I think happened. I think Amber Heard's PR team called all these people. They called every single organization, or they probably DM'd like on Twitter, and they told them, hey, will you support us with this letter? Hey, will you sign this letter for us? Hey, will you do this? Will you do that? And that's why I say it's not 130 groups, okay, where there's like 40 people in each group. No, man, it's one person 130 times. Wow. Many who did speak out in support of Heard, including the National Coalition Against Domestic Violence, I already roasted that bullshit, were met with ferocious backlash. Oh, backlash. Oh, everybody's mad at us online, so we're going to call it backlash and pushback. Oh, my God. Dude, you're wrong. From deaf supporters online, a spokesperson for the group behind the letter who asked to remain anonymous because it's Amber Heard. So obvious, dude. That is the most obvious fucking thing ever. A spokesperson for the group behind the letter who asked to remain anonymous because it's Amber Heard. That's why. This woman is doing everything herself, and she doesn't understand why it's not working. She doesn't get it. Asked to remain anonymous because of the online harassment she has faced for posting in support of Heard. Yeah, right. She said she believes that after the trial, individuals were afraid to speak out because they saw what was happening to the few who had. Yeah, because everybody was fucking owning them. The letter says the ongoing online harassment of Heard and her supporters was fueled by disinformation. No, it wasn't. Misogyny. No, it isn't. Biphobia. Nobody gives a fuck. And monetized social media environment where a woman's allegations of domestic violence, oh, you mean lies, and sexual assault were mocked for entertainment. No, it wasn't. The vilification and harassment of Heard and her supporters were unprecedented with both vitriol and scale. No, they weren't. The letter says. Kathy Spillar, the executive director of the Feminist Majority Foundation, said her organization signed the letter. Oh, see? Do you see? So there you go. There's one of them. There's one of them. Kathy Spillar. She's one person of the 130. And she's she's speaking for the organization. Nobody else in the organization is saying that. Why don't individuals come out and say that? Kathy Spillar, the executive director of the Feminist Majority Foundation, said her organization signed the letter. No, she didn't. You did, Kathy. This is one person that's trying to represent groups, and it's all a lie, man. It's all a fucking lie. Said her organization signed the letter after it observed what she called a growing backlash against women who speak out against perpetrators of sexual assault. Oh, you mean lie? Domestic violence and IPV. If this can happen to Amber Heard, it will discourage other women, no it won't, from speaking up and even filing reports about domestic violence and sexual assault. You expect me to believe that there's women out there that will come out and do what Amber Heard did? Then good. Then they better fucking be scared. Because if you think that there's people out there that will come out and do what Amber Heard did and they're not afraid, then I don't know what the fuck you think. Because, and again, I think that we seriously have to sit here and understand these people genuinely believe they're right. That's what you need to get. This is all up here. It's not out here in the real world. It's all up here. They have no idea. They're all fucking insane. Spiller said, the letter says the verdict and the online response to Heard indicate a fundamental misunderstanding of IPV and sexual violence. No, it's just going against what you feel, what you don't like. It's going against what you say. Well, so this is why they say that. Well, I mean, if you don't want to go with what we say, then you're misunderstanding. Do you understand that? You're misunderstanding. You need to read. You need to get educated. That's what they always say, that shit. You need to get educated, okay? Because you need to get educated to see my view. Because I'm educated, so you need to get educated so that way you can understand like me. So let me tell you, you have a fundamental misunderstanding because I understand, okay? I understand. You don't understand. So you need to get educated. And that's exactly how they talk. Intimate partner and sexual violence and how survivors respond to it. In addition, 24 feminist organizations, more than 90 domestic violence experts, and survivors advocates from around the world signed the letter to condemn the public shaming of Amber Heard and join in support of her. They include doctors, lawyers, professors, authors, and activists. See? Single people. They're not groups. This is not groups of people, which is why I laughed so hard when she said that. This is the biggest outpouring of support. That's it. That's the most you can get is 130 people. That's it. Ugh. Others who signed the letter echoed their concerns that reaction to the trial on social media was harmful to everyday victims of domestic violence. No, it wasn't, because they're all in the comments saying you're full of shit. They see the environment that this has created and they feel even less safe, no they don't, than before to come forward, no they don't, and speak about the abuse they suffered. They probably didn't suffer any in the first place, and that's why they're not wanting to do it, said Elizabeth Tang, the Senior Counsel for Education and Workplace Justice at the National Women's Law Center. Tang said abusers can use defamation suits to silence their victims. Oh, you mean they can use them to silence their liars? Oh, well, I mean, I guess that would work because, liars, well, I'm lying and I want everybody to believe me because believe all women. Because believe all women and men bad and women good. Duh. No, you don't understand that men bad and women good? Well, you have a fundamental misunderstanding, okay? You need to get educated, okay? Yeah. Idiots. Silence their victims or as retaliation against their victims for speaking out. You mean for lying? We cannot silence victims by using courts and lawsuits as a way to re-traumatize them because that is what's happening. So this is essentially what you're saying there. We can't use courts. So we just have to go along with what they say, regardless of if it's true. Good job. Good job. Tang said that among the reasons we felt it was very important to join this letter are that when courts do not dismiss these defamation suits in early stages, it creates a lot of trauma for victims to have to go through a very long, drawn-out, and invasive process just to prove that the things they said are true. Wow, dude, how do these people have the balls to talk this way? How do you have the balls to say that? It creates a lot of trauma for victims. So essentially, you're literally saying that we shouldn't put these people into the court system to prove if they're telling the truth because it's going to create trauma for them. That has nothing to do with anything. You're not going to be allowed to come out and accuse someone and not have to prove it. I'm sorry. Well, maybe in the UK, maybe in the UK, man. But I can't believe these people are trying to do that. I really can't. Just to prove that the things they said are true or that they did not defame the person they reported, because they fucking lied. Christian F. Nunez, the national president of National Organization for Women, said she hopes the letter is a reminder that the court system should never be used to strong-arm victims to recant statements about their abuse. Wow, that's instead of saying, oh, well, yeah, our victims will go to court and they will prove that they what they said and what they accused is true. They will prove it, and because they're strong and because they can handle it. Instead of saying that, you're saying, well, we shouldn't even use the courts at all? They shouldn't even have to prove that they're telling the truth. Dude, it's called impunity. That's literally what it's called. It's called female impunity. Fuck, man. We cannot silence victims by using courts and lawsuits as a way to re-traumatize them. No, because they're lying, because this is what's happening, Nunez said. She said she hopes the letter raises awareness of new tactics. I told you, they don't like you being able to defend yourself. You're supposed to just take the beating as a man. That's all you're supposed to do. These women genuinely believe, that you can browbeat, you can verbally abuse, you can physically abuse, you can do whatever to a man, and he should just take it. It's right there. New tactics. Why? Because nothing has ever worked. You can't talk, because if you talk, you'll just get shut down by Twitter. You can't go out and try and prove it, because if you try and prove it, you'll just get censored and nobody's going to see anything. But now that we've proved that the defamation trials work, now they're trying to get rid of them. Jeez. Of new tactics some abusers use against their victims, such as social media campaigns. Whatever. Since the trial, there have been more public support for Heard on social media. The spokesperson for the group behind the letter said, "Oh, you mean the anonymous one that's actually Amber Heard? She and other anonymous Heard supporters had been working to combat disinformation for months." See, the problem with that is if this person was to come out and have the balls to say that who they are, we would all shit on them the way that Amber Heard shit on Johnny Depp's bed. But why won't they do that? Because it's Amber Heard. And then you'll see that she wrote her own letter. She created that website. She's the one that's doing this herself. She reached out to all these people, and then it'll be gone. Everybody will be like, what are you doing? You're the one doing this? Because it's her. Working to combat disinformation. It's not disinformation for months. When they joined for the Open Letter Initiative, experts said they had a unanimous message they hope to send to survivors who read the letter. This is also a way to speak to all survivors and tell them you're not alone, Tang said. Well, look, when they say survivors, I've already explained this. When they say survivors, they're not talking about you. They're talking about themselves. And there's a reason that they believe in their minds that their opinion matters more, because they're the survivors. Their word matters. What they think is what counts.